All right. Well, as I just said, thank you guys again for coming to the info session today on a Monday, whether it's the afternoon like it is for myself here in Los Angeles or the evening in the UK and Europe, etc. But thank you for attending. This is our third info session for the Global English Camp 2022. We are very, very excited. This past summer, we held the program online. We had 2,000 Japanese high school students and 160-ish university student mentors, as we call them, coaches. And we call our interns coaches rather than teachers because we feel it's a better term. It's not just teaching English, it's improving students' confidence in English, helping them better express their opinions in English. It's also mentoring them to help them find their life mission, how they want to contribute to the world. It's also mentoring them to become better global citizens, active citizens, helping, for example, support the UN SDGs. It's also a lot of facilitation of discussion. So that's why we call our interns coaches. We had a great group, 160 this summer online across 10 Zoom homerooms. We were very nervous about it, having such a huge program online, but it worked out fantastically. And, again, for 2022, we're planning to have it in person. We're optimistic about it, but we want everyone to monitor the situation themselves. We will keep everyone updated on the newsletter about the travel restrictions, things like that. So if it does end up being online, just know it's a really impactful experience still. We had just as high satisfaction from our students and interns. The only thing is the interns did have to stay up at weird hours. For example, Saturday and Sunday, if you're in the UK, it was 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. because in Japan it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that was tough, but we had a lot of enthusiastic interns and we were really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Matt, the program director. I've done this program since 2015 when it first started and joined the staff then. There were only 10 of us interns in the first program and it's grown ever since. So we're looking for about 200 this upcoming summer. So here's the breakdown of the info session today. I'm going to introduce the camp, who we are, orientation and training. Then we'll have our first Q&A after those first three sections. Then we'll have the camp in general, the overview of the camp, logistics and subsidies, and then we'll have Q&A again. So if you have any questions about money, travel, let's save that for the fifth section. And then we'll talk a little bit about the fun stuff we do outside the classroom as well, and then about the application at the end. So thank you guys again. I'm going to play a quick video. If you've already seen it, maybe grab a glass of water, grab some tea for our hour session here. It will end in about 50 minutes. But this is a great overview of our program. So here we go.
Global English Camp is a program dedicated to the importance of gaining an unparalleled life opportunity via cross-cultural education. Through an intensive weekly program focused not only on language skills, but also relevant global issues, university students and recent graduates from around the world facilitate the improvement of expressing opinions in English and impact students' discovery of their individual life missions.
My favorite part is the mutual exchange of learning and ideas and cultures. It's very much a shared back and forth between the mentors and the students.
It's really inspiring to see the students grow in confidence. By the end of the camp, they started defining more of what they wanted to do and what their future goals were. They're all brave enough and willing to share their life mission with the entire class. I've heard so many stories where the students really want to study abroad or learn English better as a result of this English camp.
Above everything, there's a massive energy to everyone involved. It makes the whole week so fun.
It's really, really amazing watching how they grow and develop over just 5 days.
During the 5-week program, interns gain more than a stimulating teaching experience. They also gain new perspectives, knowledge, and friendships from this unforgettable summer program.
I think Japanese education puts much emphasis on just studying for entrance exam, but this program helps students think about their life mission through listening to interns' presentation. Our interns here have a strong life mission and desire to learn more, so students is also impacted.
All right, thank you guys for watching. And as Momoko, our staff member, one of our staff members in Japan with our partner company Toshin said, it's more it's a lot different of an English learning experience for the students. In general, as a generalization, a lot of the English classrooms in Japan are focused on reading and writing, and as Momoko said, the entrance exam for universities. Of course, that's super important, but we hope to provide a different experience for them. We want to make English learning fun. We want to build their confidence and their language skills, and we want to mentor them, help them become global citizens and grow as individuals. And that's what we hope to do. And in my brief story, I always tell, when I first did the program, I was skeptical. How much of an impact can I have on a student in just a week? Your students are only with you for a week at a time. I used to teach 7th grade world history here in Los Angeles. And after a full year, a full school year, I thought to myself, how much of an impact did I have on these kids? These 200 students I had all year, will they remember me? Have I had a great impact on them? And with Global English Camp, after just a week, I didn't question that ever. I never questioned it each week, because you tangibly see them grow as English speakers and as individuals in general over the week. I think it's really special. Of course, hearing from me as the program director, that makes sense, but you also heard in that video some of our alumni as well sharing that. And so, as you heard in the video, also, you have a group of students, and you kind of saw our classroom vibes. There was a lot at the table of writing and talking about global issues. There was students dancing, and a lot of fun things going on as well. So our curriculum's pretty varied. But in general, each week you will have 2 to 6 Japanese students. So in this picture here, you can see what a classroom looks like. You have a table with your students, and you're in a classroom full of other students and interns as well. During the 5 weeks, 1 week is training, which I'll talk about in a bit. The other 4 weeks are teaching. So each week you'll have different students, and those students 95% of the time are high school students. There are some junior high school students that join and some university students, but grades 10, 11, 12 are primarily our students. Their English speaking abilities are varied as well. It's, they've all been studying it academically their whole lives, but just like any language learning, it varies. So some students are far less confident, and some students are, you can have students that are as native level as us because they went to an international school. But we think the curriculum works well for all cases, and we try to give interns a varied experience. Some beginners, some experts at the language, and I think it's really fulfilling either way. With the beginning students, you really see them grow in confidence, and with the advanced students, you are able to have deeper discussions on the topics. So 1 week of training, 4 weeks of teaching, and I know a lot of questions were about placements. Everyone meets in Tokyo for training. And then there are 4 weeks of a variety of options. We basically, in the onboarding, ask you to list your preferences. We have 4 major home bases: Tokyo, Osaka, Kansai area, Nagoya, central Japan, and Yokohama. And a typical schedule is, I would say 2 to 3 weeks at a home base, because we always have students there, and 1 or 2 weeks at a smaller location nearby. So for example, you could be doing training in Tokyo, as everyone does, and then you have 2 weeks in Tokyo at our headquarter venue, and 1 week in Sendai, a bit north of Tokyo, and 1 week in Sapporo, up in Hokkaido. So you take a Shinkansen to Sendai, then fly to Sapporo, and then everyone returns to Tokyo for our goodbye party. So that's a typical schedule. We don't have the dates on our website, and that is because we are uncertain about online or in person, but also because the Japanese school systems don't release their summer schedule until springtime. So Typically, the dates are July 15th to August 26th, 27th. And we have 2 cohorts. I'm going to type it in the chat just so people has this, because this was also a common question. So July 15th, I believe that's a Friday, to August 22nd, I think is the Friday. If I'm wrong, sorry, it's around there, would be cohort 1. And July 22nd to August 29th would be cohort 2. So we stagger it. So half of the interns come early, half of the interns stay later. So there will be chances to mingle with both cohorts, but we do this because the first and last week of the programs have fewer students, excuse me. This is an English program after all, got to get it right. And also then the training becomes more manageable for us. The first week of training, we're all together. So we have 100 in each cohort, and those are the dates. We do take preferences of the dates, and we give priority to those who have to come back for school. Some schools start early September, late August, so you got to get back. But we will keep you updated on the dates via the newsletter as well. And yeah, here's just a picture of our remote camp. I know I already talked about this. 3 weekends this summer. Really, really fantastic program. We'll keep you updated pending travel restrictions about if we're going to do it in person or online. As a company, myself and a few of staff, we are Come On Out. Come On Out Japan is what runs the Global English Camp program that you're all here to learn about. But we also have some other global opportunities coming up in Japan and elsewhere. I will talk about that a bit at the end. But we also do traditional one-on-one English online lessons. We're always looking for teachers. We do require a TEFL and a bachelor's degree to teach with us, and that is a paid position. That's our other entity. And then we have Come On Out Adventures, which we're doing nature-based programs in the States, and hopefully soon in Japan as well. And then just to say this, because this was a question, the TEFL for our Global English Camp program is not required. The reason we encourage it is because not only because we offer our own TEFL course and we think it's great, but also because it shows your dedication to English teaching. It also just helps if you want to work internationally or in education in general. I know I got one back in 2015 when I did this program. And so again, it's not required. I would say only 10 to 20% of our interns have a TEFL, but we encourage it. So just so you guys are aware. Anyways, here's our partners. So Toshin, I mentioned them earlier. Momoko, the staff, was in our video. They are quite a well-known name in Japan. They're always at the forefront of Japanese education as well. They are a cram school, or a juku, supplemental schooling for students. And they're the ones that bring the students. So in person next summer, we're hoping, they bring around 4,000 Japanese students. I always use this example as just to give an idea of what kind of company they are. They're, if you go to a baseball game in Tokyo and you look at the left field wall, their name is there. They're very well known, and they're very good at what they do. So we're very happy to be partnered up with them. Come On Up is our other partner, and they run the Japanese administration side of things. So they're going to help with housing. They're going to get the housing, and cultural activities, Japanese language classes, financial stuff, etc. And I will talk about that in a bit. There's also quite a bit of testimonials throughout the slides and on our website if you want to check it out from our past interns. So you arrive in Japan. In Tokyo, we have orientation weekend. This is for hopefully getting over jet lag. It's for meeting the team. We have some fun activities. We give you some stipend to go and explore Asakusa, which is the sort of the cultural hub of Tokyo. We lead some tours around there. We do disaster training to prepare for, earthquakes, tsunamis, and the like. That's required when you're doing a program like this in Japan. And generally we just hang out. We have a huge welcome party. I think that was in the video a bit. It's super fun. And again, like I said, hopefully getting over jet lag, because on the Monday is training. And training is 4 days. We are very thorough in our training, not only just administrative housekeeping type of stuff to get you ready for your summer in Japan, but also very in-depth on our textbook curriculum and strategies in the classroom. Like I said, we don't require TEFL. We encourage it because it gives you these extra teaching skills, but we make sure our training is very comprehensive. We want to make sure everyone day one in the classroom is ready to go and confident. And of course, as you're teaching, it's a learning experience as well, but training, we hope, helps quite a bit. And so after training, here's some pictures of training. So we have the orientation again, then training for 4 days. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday of that weekend, we go up for a company retreat. Typically, we go to Hakone, if anyone has ever been to Hakone or near Mount Fuji. Beautiful natural space. In 2019, we rented out a bunch of cabins. We all celebrated finishing training week, getting started for the program. And then on Sunday, everyone goes to their respective locations, one of those home bases I said. So for example, Tokyo or Osaka, and you will get ready for your first week of teaching. And before we go in the Q&A, and again, this is just on orientation, training, and kind of overview of the camp. We're going to get into the finances and the curriculum. So anything on that, please type in the chat. But I'm also going to call out Gwen, who's here to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So sorry I'm late. I was getting my vaccine booster, so finally got that. But yeah, my name is Gwen. I am the Director of Digital Strategy at Kamanat Japan. And I did the program in person back in 2019, but now I've been helping out with the online camps, helping out with our other ventures, and just really excited to talk to you all. So welcome to the info session.
Thank you, Gwen. Happy you're here, and congrats on the booster. Man,
thank you, Matt.
I'm getting that right before Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's a good choice or a bad choice.
Exciting either way.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, please take this time. I'll let us go here for 30-40 seconds to see any questions in the chat for Gwen and myself about the presentation so far. And if you'd like, you can feel free to use the Zoom raise hand feature and ask something as well. Jesse.
Is there an emphasis on learning a specific variant of English, like British or American English, or does it not matter too much?
Well, this is oftentimes a funny point of contention in the camp, which I think is actually great. Of the banter between the US, UK, and Canadian interns and everyone, but particularly US and UK, because the textbook is written in American English. I'm sorry to say, Jesse, because I think you're a Brit. Most people here are at this session. But no, there's no focus. We want students to hear a variety of accents and English dialects. We think that's important. But yeah, so the only thing is that the textbook is written in American English. Thanks. And in fact, we encourage, this is a cultural exchange program. So we encourage interns and students alike to talk about their different cultures. And that includes, of course, English. Any other questions? Oh, yes. I don't see your name for some reason, but you're clapping and raising your hand.
Oh, hi. My name is Monica. It's because I am an international student in the American, so I don't have the US passport, so I don't have the visa for the Japan. I think I need some special process to apply for another visa for Japan. It's for the traveling visa or any other types of visa.
Yes, great question. Thanks for bringing that up. So typically for all of our interns, we arrive in Japan on a tourist visa. So you have 90 days. Because our program is unpaid and subsidized, this works out quite easily. But there are some countries that, yes, it requires a visa. And with that, we will work with you on a case-by-case basis. So if you're accepted and you'll let us know during the onboarding process, hey, my country, my citizenship needs a visa to enter Japan, and we work with you to get it. Simple as that. Thanks for the question.
Okay, thank you.
And Sebastian, I forgot to mention that earlier when I was talking about the requirements to participate. Yeah, native level English. And how we do that, you are free to put your scores, IELTS, etc., C1, C2, in the application, but we do that through our interview process. Our interview is very conversational. When Gwen and I and our other teams interview, that's part of it, is creating conversation, and that's where we determine the English level. Native level is just fine. You're welcome. All right, I'm going to continue. I guess Gwen can monitor the chat while we're going along, since we've got help. And
I'll be here typing answers, so feel free to ask anything.
Yes, thank you very much. That helps a lot. So that way you guys, and Monica, did you have a question? We'll take it real quick.
Oh, sorry, I've just
forgot to. As a raise. Okay, now your name popped up. Now I know.
I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. So I briefly talked about our goals of the camp, but just to reiterate, we kind of have three main things. Discussing global issues. Like I said, a goal is to help the students become active global citizens. So the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, you will become extremely familiar with these by the end of the camp, perhaps too familiar. This is our huge module that we discuss these goals, and students give presentations on it. Our culminating event of the program is the life mission speech. It's personally my favorite presentation to watch. It's really inspiring to see all these students have different goals and how they want to contribute to the world. And it's also really nice to see them develop this over the course of the week. So that's why I said earlier, we call interns coaches or mentors, because oftentimes you're helping them find their life mission, or at least to get a clearer idea of what they want to do. So it's really cool. And that's why we have the life mission question in the application. And here's application tip number 1 for info session attendees. Be very clear and focused in your life mission response on your application. Even if you're not entirely sure what you want to do, provide some options and how you're going to determine how you want to contribute to the world, because this is a big part of our program and our sponsor thinks it is really important. I see that Gwen's probably typing about the Japanese language classes, and we'll get to that too. And then finally, I showed the video and some pictures. You guys probably got the atmosphere of the camp from that, but it really is to have fun. We have these serious global discussions. We have the life mission speeches. We want students to improve and be confident. But part of that is playing games. Part of that is doing icebreakers. Part of that is just having fun with the students and laughing. So that's a big part of our curriculum are these games, getting up and moving, keeping the energy going, and making sure the students have a lovely time. And that's, part of the reason it's unforgettable is the fun aspect of it. So the program schedule, here it is. And there it goes. You could look at it on our website, but here's an idea of what the 2.5-day program looks like, which the online workshop this summer, just because I'm not sure if this is on the website, but it's basically our 5-day program condensed into 2.5 days. And as a reminder, we'll keep everyone updated on the COVID situation and travel restrictions. But here's some pictures on the games and speaking exercises that we do. These are kind of sprinkled in throughout the 5 days. Again, keeping the energy up is really important, keeping that positivity. If any of you have taught before, you know the importance of being enthusiastic. You also know that it can be tiring, which is why my other recommendation, if you do the program, is take a rest day, or a rest evening after teaching. We want to give the kids all of our energy, make sure they're having a fun time, and that comes in the form of these games and speaking exercises. This is a past presentation we used to start the program off with, talking about the upcoming Olympics. Of course, those have came and went. So we are currently adapting our textbook to some new modules to replace this, including the entrepreneurship discussion. Again, this gives you a good idea of what the camp vibes are like. The domination switch these students presented on turns off their annoying siblings, or the other students created a microwave bento box named Mike. They're having fun with English, but also, helping their confidence in giving presentations, because for a lot of these students, this might be the very first time they've presented in English. This would be on the third day of the program. Some more of that. And then the United Nations SDGs. So this is their second group presentation. And again, you can kind of see from the pictures, the interns stand up with the students and hold the poster, and the students give their presentation about 5 minutes as a group. This is where you start to see their confidence growing even more. And it's also really awesome to have these discussions with students. You'd be surprised at how many great ideas they have, not just in terms of what the world can do to help these goals, but also what they can do as individuals. So it's really enlightening as well as a great confidence builder for the students as they present. Interns also give 2 presentations throughout the week. One is about your university. We typically do it in a kind of job fair type setting. You can see in that middle right picture there, Freddie, one of our interns, was just giving a casual presentation to a few students, and we have students hop around saying, oh, I want to learn about UCL, and then I want to learn about UCLA, and a lot of these students, quite frankly, really want to study abroad. So this program is really special for them in that reason as well, not just meeting you guys and having cultural exchange, but learning about some potential places to study abroad at. And then each intern also gives their own life mission presentation. And this is very helpful for the students as they're preparing their life mission presentations. And also, I think really cool to learn about your fellow interns' passions. We pride ourselves on having a very diverse group every year. We're not looking just for English majors. We're not looking just for Japanese majors. We're not looking for just future teachers. We want people that want to impact students and want to experience cultural exchange and make a difference in students' life, but not necessarily have to have that as their ultimate life mission themselves. This is a good point to say that Japanese language, I didn't mention this, and this was a question in some of your guys' forms. Language is not required at all. The reason we asked that question on the application is just to get an idea of our teachers needed to teach Japanese in the summer, which Gwen answered in the chat a question about that. And yeah, so in fact, about 75% of our interns have not taken a single class, a Japanese class. So don't worry at all. In fact, it is not allowed in the classroom, and students know that. It is an English only classroom. And thank you, Gwen, for answering all those questions. And here's some pictures of the life mission. Like I said, it's really special to see your students present. Oftentimes they'll call back something you told them earlier in the week, and they'll say, hey, Matt told me this and it inspired me to look into teaching, and now I want to do this. It's really cool, really fulfilling. Like I said at the very start of this info session, the huge thing for me was on day 5, on my very first week, I realized how much of an impact I had on these students, and that was from hearing these life mission presentations, and that's what makes it so special. And after that, we have a nice closing ceremony. It does get emotional because so many of our students say, hey, this is their favorite week of the summer. So it's really special to be a part of that. We exchange some gifts, some messages for our students. We have to kick students out at 6 p.m. because they want to take selfies with everyone, but we have to let you guys go and end your workday. Really, really special. Some of the fun stories I say is one time a group of students gave this intern a backpack made out of Japanese snacks from the kombini, and I thought it was so awesome. It opened and it had all these snacks. And then the other funny story is we are allowed to wear our English camp t-shirts to teach, and one of our interns wore only his English camp t-shirt. And so on day 5, as they were leaving, his 4 students each gave him a new t-shirt so that he didn't have to wear only the one shirt for the whole week. So just really special moments like that. And again, you do this 4 times, right? You have the training and then 4 different sets of students over 4 weeks. This is quite a long quote. Instead of a quote, Gwen, do you have any fun stories or comments about any special moments throughout the week with any students or any general comments too?
Yeah, I didn't have any crazy special moments like that, but they were special in a more, I would say, fulfilling way. Just like Matt said, seeing them grow and really open up to you and learning about these students and their experiences and just learning from each other. And yeah, the last day is super emotional. You know, you go into it thinking, oh, this is maybe just like a teaching experience, but it feels like so much more than that. And having to leave after only a couple days, it's a lot harder than you would think. So these students get really attached. They give some really, really sweet gifts. I've gotten like little Olympic tokens. I don't know if you know of the Tokyo Olympic, I guess, mascots, but they make little stuffed animals of them. I got those, a couple other things. And yeah, it's just a great experience.
Man, I wish I got the mascots. I love those guys.
They're amazing.
Now, Gwen said it perfectly. It's so much more than the teaching experience. You know, just the impact you have on the students is I mean, it is tangible, but it's hard to truly know until the last day when the students talk about their experience. It's really awesome. And of course, we do surveys for the students and interns, and hearing the impacts through that as well is very important to us. Okay, so I think this is where questions will fly in, just because this is about the subsidies. And of course, you know, we are still in the process of confirming everything because we're not sure if it'll be in person or online. Again, we are definitely hoping it's going to be in person and aiming for that based on the current predictions of travel restrictions. So with that, we offer round trip airfare. So what this is you fly from your hometown or your university to Tokyo and back. That round trip is covered by us. All we ask at the time of purchase, so we do a purchasing process with each of you individually with our travel agent. You pay the travel agent a $500 USD deposit. I think that's about 350 pounds. And that's paid directly to our travel agents. And then 80% or 400 USD, can't do the math quick enough for the pounds there. But if anyone knows that, feel free to type it in the chat. But 400 USD is returned to you after completion of the program. This is sort of a safety net to ensure no one comes to Japan and then bails from the program. And the $100 that we keep covers the onboarding process. And so that is the airfare. And with the airfare, you can arrive and leave Japan whenever you want. I mean, it has to be before the program and leave after the program, obviously. But we cover housing from that first Friday of orientation to the last Sunday of the camp. And so if you'd like to arrive earlier, which I highly recommend, not only to get over jet lag, but to if you have some time to explore and you have the means to do so, do that. Our program sponsor really wants, in fact, interns to do that so they get a taste of Japan. 5 weeks goes by really fast, and you only have 5 weekends. So it's you know, besides the evenings. So yeah, you can pick your dates as long as you are there for the program. We do not provide housing before that Friday, but we do offer it at with our share house partners at a very, very discounted rate, which is what I try to do every year. Yeah, so that's airfare. So feel free to type in some questions on airfare. I'll just continue here and then take a short break after that last bullet. Housing, this varies depending where you are. So at the beginning of the info session, I was talking about the different experiences you can have, whether it's you're in Tokyo for a couple of weeks, then you go to Sendai and Sapporo, or maybe you start in Osaka and then go to Kobe and Hiroshima. It really depends. We ask your preference during the onboarding process of which home base you prefer and also how much traveling you want to do. Some interns travel each week, and I think that's super cool. You get to see 4 different cities in 4 weeks in Japan. But there's also benefits to having 3 or 4 weeks in Tokyo, for example. You get to really know that city. But we do ask preference, and while there's no guarantees, we try our best. And housing is dependent on where you're placed. Our most common option is share housing, which is what it sounds like. You share a house with other interns. You have a room, but you share the amenities of the house. That is the most typical. Occasionally we have dorm rooms. So there are occasions where you might be in a room with another person. That's more rare, but again, it's dependent on venue. Homestays. If you want a homestay and you get accepted into our program in the onboarding process, please put that you are open to travel and you are open to more rural locations. Tokyo and Osaka are not going to have a lot of homestays, very, very little, just because of, purely because of housing space. But the smaller cities will have lots of homestays, and homestays are amazing. You stay with a Japanese family that, their student is doing the program, excuse me. And yeah, obviously these families are signing up to want to do this homestay. So you will be welcomed with open arms. If you might get a bento box to take to camp every day from your homestay family. You might get offered to do your laundry. Wow, that's helpful after 3 weeks of the program. And also you just get a really special experience with the family to take you around their town. So highly recommend that, but it is limited to the smaller cities. But we do take requests for that as well. And then apartments and sometimes hotels and guest houses at each venue. Again, it is venue dependent. And if you do really, really, really want to guarantee you live alone in your own apartment, the whole program, we do offer that to pay, but that would probably be only in Tokyo. But typically, no one really typically does that. I think there's a lot of great positives to each housing. Shared housing is great. You get to meet interns and live in a house with them, make some friends. Homestay is great with the families, etc. So I'm sure the questions are flying in. So I'll just say one more thing as Gwen's furiously typing. Weekly food subsidies and transportation reimbursements are also there. So, we give you a weekly stipend for food, so you can use that money how you please. That in 2019 was 2,300 yen per day. That's about $22 US dollars. I guess that's what, 16 pounds. And a common misconception about Japan is that food's really expensive. I mean, it can be, but there's some great more affordable options too, like at a convenience store. Or, one of the first bowls of ramen I had was $5, and it was one of the best I've had in my life. So you can use that money how you want and save it how you want as well. And then transportation reimbursement, how that works is you get reimbursed from your housing to work and back. So we give you that. And then if you are traveling to another venue, for example, you're in Tokyo 1 week and then you've got to fly to Okinawa, of course, we are paying and providing that flight ticket as well. Or if it's a Shinkansen from Tokyo to Osaka, when you're switching school venues, yes, that's all covered as well. And the travel to new venues happens on Sundays if you are traveling. I really just talk a lot, and as things come to my mind, I say them. So hopefully there's some good questions coming in. Thank you, Gwen. I see. Oh my gosh, it's so much more helpful with you here.
You're doing a great job.
I think the next, one more thing, and then there's a question. Gwen, did you have anything to add?
No, sorry.
Oh, no, we're good. I just wanted to make sure we are on time for the questions here. Perfect. All right. And then, of course, the additional activities provided outside of class. I know someone asked about the language classes. So typically those are 2 days a week held in our bigger venues. So if you're in a smaller venue, you'd have to dial in online. But those are, again, based on how many students have different Japanese levels. We set those up from beginner to advanced. And then we have other after-class activities. We have at least one per week in each venue, a cultural activity, varies venue to venue. In Tokyo, a popular one was going to Team Lab, this sort of interactive art museum that's really awesome. One group did a trip to a small island outside of Nagoya or Gifu, no, coastal central Japan. Another group, of course, there's all sorts of festivals all summer long. Or maybe it's visiting a temple and doing a tea ceremony. Essentially, we have at least one activity per week. And in 2019, each intern got to choose any 2 they wanted to attend. And then the others, if they had a cost, interns would pay if you wanted to attend more than 2. But keep in mind, we also provide the Hakone retreat at the beginning as well. We also have a lot of informal activities going on. I talked a little bit about the community vibe and spirit of the program. You know, people like myself and Gwen, and then our leaders, which are returning interns that act as liaisons to myself and Gwen and other staff. They will be constantly offering fun activities after work. So if you're like not sure where to go, there's always something going on. I'll often pop into a room and say, I've got first 10 people, first come, first served to my favorite restaurant reservation, and we'll go do that. This is happening always with staff as well. The Japanese staff, as I mentioned, are also super excited that you're here teaching the students and want to show you around their town as well, especially in the smaller towns. So there's always something going on, which is really exciting. And then finally, of course, we have our own health insurance as well. I'm not going to get into any stories today, but it is very, very helpful. If there's an emergency, please do not just take the train to the hospital. Please call an ambulance. Actually, I think I'm talking to mostly UK folks here, so it's a little different. But us in the US, I know we're always hesitant to call an ambulance in emergency because of the crazy costs we have. But even with just our health insurance, that'll be covered. So you can feel comfortable if any emergency happen. And what else is included? The cultural experience of a lifetime, of course. Kind of cheesy, but it is certainly true. Otherwise, Gwen and myself wouldn't be here and keep doing the program year after year. All right, so I see a lot of questions coming in. I guess if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask a question as well, now would be the time based on this. We'll take a short little minute break for questions. And Gwen will continue to type too.
If you want to answer a quick question I got while I'm finishing typing up an answer,
yep.
Like an average amount that people spend on top of the amount that we pay for them.
Yeah.
I know it varies per person, but like an average amount, maybe I said a couple $100s, but.
That was from Hafsa, I see. Yeah. Great question. Yeah, as Gwen said, and as you said in your question, it is highly dependent on the intern. A couple $100s is a good estimate. $500 actually is probably what I usually say. I think Gwen actually said that. But as Gwen said in her response, some interns actually don't spend anything. Again, if you use your food subsidies well. But I recommend, if you have the financial means to do so, to splurge a little bit for a couple meals. Nice meals. But yeah, it does depend. The main costs that are going to be consistent, because meals are mostly covered. Weekend meals, if you don't have any leftover stipends, but you definitely can. I know I usually do. And transportation outside of to and from class. So if you are in Shinjuku, our main downtown hub of Tokyo, our headquarters, your cost to get from Shinjuku back to your house is covered, but you're certainly going to want to go explore other parts of Tokyo. And so those, while small, it's a couple dollars here and there, that'll build up. So I'd say that's like the biggest thing is the traveling aspect. And the next biggest thing, of course, is souvenirs, I would say. And of course, any other additional travel you do, but I'd say 500 is a great start, but you can certainly spend far less than that. And if you're traveling alone beforehand, you can certainly spend more. Any other questions that came up, Gwen, that I need to answer live or?
Yeah, so someone asked what kind of student we usually recruit. Any good answers to that?
Great question. And the vague answer is all types of students, but I'm not going to be that unfair and just say that. Gwen and I and our team thoroughly review applications every year, and it's just a small team of us to review often 2,000 applications, and applications of which are very response oriented. And that's because we really want to get to know everyone. We don't require letters of recommendation. We don't even require your resume. We just require you to be in university or graduated or, just good standing at university, at least 18, and then a native native level English speaker. But we're really looking for character. I would say application tip number 2 now is to really focus on the students. Of course, it's a great cultural experience to travel in Japan, but we are really looking for people that have their primary focus be impacting the students. That's definitely what we're looking for. Again, it doesn't matter that you're not an education major. In fact, we want a variety of majors, science and arts, etc., because we want the students to experience meeting a variety of people with different goals and passions and interests, because the students are developing their life mission. So it benefits them to see multiple paths from our interns. And that also goes with age. We have interns 18 to 30, even young or low 30s. We, graduates, PhD students, people outside of college, undergrads, all of the above. We want people from different walks of life. So I know that's a very cliche answer, but it really is true. And since it kind of relates to that, the most important thing, and I'll say it again at the end, as Gwen and I always do, apply early. We will start reading them on a rolling basis pretty soon. We're going to start reading. We'll start interviewing early next year. But we will read in the order they come through. So most importantly, don't wait till December 31st to apply, because we get a massive influx then. And since we review on a rolling basis and start interviewing in that order, if our spots get filled, because we have so many awesome candidates, like everyone here, then it'll become more and more competitive as the time goes on. So those are some recommendations. So clear and concise life mission, focus on the impact on the students. Another one is be flexible and accommodating. We're looking for, you don't have to have travel experience, but we're looking for people that are flexible travelers, that are able to travel from city to city and teach. It is challenging. It is challenging to work in a classroom Monday through Friday in a foreign country, and then want to explore on the weekends. So we're looking for that. And we're also, another quality we look for is patience. Of course, that comes with any teaching job, but especially here, as we're helping to build students' confidence.
Yeah, and I just want to add that, doing the program, a lot of people in the program get along really well because everyone has the shared passion of making a huge difference, of travel, of crossing cultural and global boundaries, and just generally being easy to get along with, easy to talk to. A lot of the students in Japan are very shy and they don't have the opportunity to speak out loud a lot. So having people that are easy to talk to is always a great thing to help bring the students out of their shell.
Yeah, breaking out of the shell. I can't believe I haven't said that phrase yet. That's so important. Yep, what Gwen said is absolutely true, and that's where the interview comes into play as being important. And I think just because Gwen answered this, in case not everyone saw it, the first interview is with us, with our team, so myself, Gwen, our other team members, and then if you pass that, the second interview is with our team in Japan. So here's some pictures of some of the cultural experiences we offer. We also have cooking nights often. I didn't mention that earlier. Food is important to us, especially good food, and Japanese food is some of the best. Those top right and middle right pictures are from Hakone. That's our retreat at the beginning. And then there's some other fun stuff. The bottom middle is at an onsen, a Japanese hot spring in Tokyo. We have language classes. We also do an exchange with the University of Tokyo everywhere to practice your Japanese and have them practice their English. And that's really cool to meet fellow students. And yeah, and day trips. This is actually referring to the retreat. Again, Hakone, we do some unofficial weekend trips as well. And yeah, so overall, we have a really awesome community vibe. Interns get to know each other really well and become lifelong friends. I often have people come to LA and I give them tours. People are always seeing each other around the world, and I think that's super cool, our alumni network, and just the special experience you have making friends in another country while making a difference. But again, the most important thing is impacting those students. It's really unforgettable. It's really fulfilling. And so, yeah, thank you guys for being interested in it. Just to wrap up, some pictures from our classrooms that we take at the end of each week. So here's a smaller venue. I actually didn't mention that The sizes of the venue can vary. Tokyo sometimes has, over 100 interns teaching in our headquarters. And something like here, Okinawa, you can see there's only about maybe 4 or 5 teachers there. Actually, I think it's only 4 teachers. That's our smallest venue, is 3 or 4 teachers. You'll always be with at least one other intern. And just to give you an idea, I mentioned it earlier, how much we've grown over the years. Yeah, like I said, we're looking for about 200 this upcoming summer. And you can play the game Find Gwen. This is, and again, this is what I mentioned, the 2 cohorts. And you can return. So the special shirt colors are for our returning interns. The red shirts, actually, it was more than 3 years. We have people that have done this program 4 years now. And we have a team that returns every summer. And I mentioned it briefly. Those are what we call our leaders. And they are leading a small group of interns, 10 to 15, that generally travel together. So you're in this big cohort of 100 and a smaller of 10 to 15 that is really tight knit. And they're kind of our liaisons and staff. And they know the ins and outs of teaching in the classroom, of traveling around Japan, and things like that. And it's, the leaders and the interns are the heart and soul of this program. And I never mentioned this before, but you guys are actually running the classroom. We have the textbook, we have the training, there's Japanese staff there to help, but really it comes down to you guys running the classroom and responsible for an awesome program for our students. And we change our program every year based on feedback of interns. So what difference do you want to make? And the last slide, I still haven't changed the picture yet. But apply now. I guess it's me like looking at you guys to like, what are you doing? If you're interested, please apply early. And seriously, that if there's one thing you can take away from the info session about the application, is to do it early. But let's do some final questions here. We've got a few minutes left, so feel free to type or raise your hand. And before the questions start flying in and people start leaving, thank you again for taking time out of your evening, if you're in the UK and elsewhere, or during the day. Really appreciate it on Monday, and especially some of you in the US are probably on holiday break now also. All right, so feel free to type or go ahead, Gwen.
I just want to add, I have to head out now, but thank you everyone for coming. Feel free to email me or Matt. I'll put my email address in the chat, but Matt's going to stay here and answer a couple questions if you want to ask them.
Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you. Great to see you all. Take care.
All right, thanks, Gwen. And like we said, I will be here for a little bit to ask questions. So feel free to type now that I can monitor the chat, or raise your hand. And thanks again, everyone. It means a lot that you came out to our info session.